We're here today to discuss hearings before the Assessment Review Board. At the hearing, you will be referred to as the complainant, as you are the one challenging the assessment. The city's representative will be referred to as the respondent, as they are responding to your complaint. Your assessment complaint will be heard by 3 independent and impartial board members. These board members are not city employees, they're citizens appointed by City Council. While they cannot change your tax rate, they can determine if your assessment is fair and correct. At the beginning of the hearing, the presiding officer or the member controlling the hearing will introduce the board members. After this, the parties will introduce themselves. Once the introductions have been completed, the presiding officer will summarize the hearing process and address any bias or conflict of interest. This is a perfect time for you to ask any questions that you may have. Following this, the presiding officer will ask the parties if there are any preliminary matters. The most common preliminary matter occurs when evidence is not disclosed to both parties or is disclosed late. The board will hear from both parties before making any decision on a preliminary matter or objection. You may want to file rebuttal evidence. Your rebuttal may only respond to new issues raised in the respondent's evidence. It is not an opportunity to introduce new evidence which should have been included in your initial disclosure. Your hearing notice indicates the date by which you may submit a rebuttal. Remember, you must not present evidence that you have not properly disclosed. If you do so, the respondent may object, or the board may simply prevent you from discussing this evidence. As the complainant, you will present your evidence first. The respondent and the board may then take turns asking you questions. Remember to answer all questions as simply and directly as possible. The respondent will then present their brief summary. No new evidence may be presented at this time. Here are some things to keep in mind. If you have any procedural questions along the way, please do not hesitate to ask the presiding officer. The presiding officer is referred to as Mr. or Madam Chair. The board has no prior knowledge of your complaint. A good presentation will provide relevant evidence in a manner that is easy to understand. Be clear and concise and avoid unnecessary repetition or irrelevant questions. Once the presentations and questioning are finished, it's time for closing statements. Your closing statement should be a brief summary of your evidence. You will have the final word at the hearing, and if necessary, may briefly respond to the respondent's summary. Once the hearing is finished, you can expect to receive a copy of the board's written decision, complete with reasons, in approximately 30 days. Remember, it is your responsibility to prove your assessment is unfair or incorrect. All ARB hearings are recorded and open to the public. If you'd like to attend a hearing to help prepare for yours, please contact our office.